it's me, Robin, with Simple Food, Simple Life. I'm going to show you how to make some very inexpensive beans. These are pinto beans. And I'm going to show you how to make them nice and flavorful without going to a lot of expense, buying a lot of meat. I'm just going to do it simply, and then, you know what, you can go from this point and doctor them up however you see fit. But I'm just going to show you a simple way to make some tasty beans that you can have in soup. You can make refried beans. You can do whatever you want to do with them. These are pinto beans, and what I've got here, I think it's probably about, I don't know, a pound. It was actually a quart jar of beans. And I'm heating up some water here. Now, normally you would soak these beans overnight and then drain them and all of that business. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick soak, and I'm going to pour some boiling water that I have going here, and I'm going to pour the boiling water over the top of them. That just gives them a quick soak. I'm not putting salt, not putting seasoning, not putting anything, because I'm going to just let them soak for an hour, and then once that's done, I will drain them and rinse them, and then I will show you what I'm going to do from that point on, okay? So let's just pour this over here real quick. And you know what? I'm just doing enough to cover. I've got a little kettle here, kettle full, and that's what I'm going to do. And that's it. Don't look at where I spilled it on my stove, okay? Okay, there you go. And I'll probably just pop a lid on these two, and that will really cause the soaking time to go a little bit faster. Okay? All right, I'll be back, show you in about an hour what that looks like, and I'll show you what to do from there. Easy, easy, and very, very inexpensive, and nutritious. Okay, here you go. I've got the beans soaking. They've soaked about an hour, just shy of an hour. And I want you to see how much water has been soaked up by the beans. And you know, these were completely covered. And so that's pretty good. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pour these in the colander. I'm going to rinse them off with cold water. And I'm going to use my same pan for the next step. So you don't want to miss this. This is what the beans look like in the colander after they've been soaked and drained, and now they are rinsed. Now, I've got my pan here, and in my pan, I'm going to put a couple of tablespoons of vegetable oil. Now, you can use any oil you want. It doesn't make any difference. It's just whatever you prefer. I'm using vegetable oil because that's what I've got. And I am notorious for using what I have. Okay, so now I've got my pan going here. I've got it on a high heat to start. And I'm going to let my oil get hot. And let me show you what I've got. I've got 3 carrots I've chopped up. And this is almost a whole onion minus a slice that I used on my veggie burger last night. And I have right here is a 1/4 teaspoon, a little bit less than that, of cayenne pepper. I've got some liquid smoke, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. Now, you don't have to add that if you don't want to, but we'll talk about that when I get to it. I've got some salt. I've got some pepper. You know what? I'm just grabbing this. You can use whatever you have. It really doesn't make any difference. I think people make too big of a deal out of salt. Salt makes things taste good. I use salt. So, that's what we got. Now I can hear my oil starting to sizzle there. So I'm going to dump my vegetables in there. Okay, I've dumped my vegetables in, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to let them start to sweat a little bit. Now I haven't added any seasoning to it or anything yet. I will, but I'm just not doing it just yet. Now, you don't have to use purple onion. I have purple onion because that's what I had. So that's what's going to go in there. And you know what? When you cook purple onion, After a while, it loses its color. You really can't hardly tell the difference, but that's what was in there. So I've got it going here. Now I'm going to watch my heat too. If this starts to get a little too hot, I will turn it down. I don't want them to brown. I just want them to sweat. So you can see that's what I'm doing. Now, why do I do that? Why don't I just, put the beans in the pan and pour water over the top and throw my stuff in, including the vegetables? The reason I like to sweat the vegetables is because it brings out so much flavor into the beans, or actually into any soup that you're cooking. It makes them so good and so flavorful. It's an extra step, but it is actually worth it. Now, if I were going to do these beans in the crock pot, which you can do, I would still sweat out the beans. Just take a little pan, sweat out the beans, and, sweat out the vegetables, and do it like that. Now then, can you add other vegetables in this? Certainly, you can. I'm going to put the cayenne in there. You can, if you want to. Can you make them hotter? Yep. You can put canned tomatoes in there if you want to. And if you do the canned tomatoes, I would put them in when the sweating process of the vegetables are almost done. I would do that too. I'm going to turn my heat back up just a little bit. And now then, I'm going to add in some salt. Now, this is just kosher salt, but honestly, it really doesn't matter. Now, you can measure this out if you want to. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit on the top. Not too much. And that kosher salt is a little more coarse than other salt. That's fine. Turn that down a little bit. And now I'm going to add some pepper. I'm just going to use my, pepper shaker here. Just going to put some on the top, just a little bit. And then I'm just going to continue to sweat that out with the spices. Now then, some people like to put a bay leaf in their beans. I don't, because I don't care for the taste of bay leaf. So I frankly don't use it in anything. If you like it, by all means use it. If you want to put garlic, put garlic. If you want to chop up some celery finely, do that. It's whatever you want to do. I'm just showing you the simplest method here for making delicious beans. Now then, this is what we're going to do too. Right now we're going to put in, I've got about a teaspoon of liquid smoke. If you don't like liquid smoke or you don't want to add that, don't. It's okay. It's not a big deal. It's whatever you want. Now, I'm not adding bacon or ham or anything like that, any kind of smoked meat to this, because I'm just making a bean soup, basic, simple bean soup, or beans. You can, if you don't like it, don't add it. It doesn't really make any difference. Now, here we go. They're cooking away. They smell really good. And I'm going to grab my beans and I'm going to put them in there, and I'm going to saute those to start out with the vegetable. All right, now then, I've got my beans in there. You can see I've tossed them with the onions and the carrots and the spice that I have in there. And like I said, if you want to add other things, feel free. I just want to show you a basic method here, which you can use for a lot of things. These beans were about $1.79 for a 2-pound bag of pinto beans at my local Aldi. And it doesn't matter where you get the beans, they're not very pricey, no matter where you shop. But the dry ones are always cheaper. So here, I've got this going here, and what can I use this for? I can use this batch of beans for, I can use it, I just eat it as bean soup as it is. I can put it in the fridge when they're done, and I can take out a couple of cups at a time and use it to maybe add tomatoes to, pour it over rice, cooked rice. I can smash them and make a refried beans. I can and have that with some Spanish rice, your taco night. I can take these beans and I can make some bean burritos. I can do so many things. And if you stop and think, this is only about a pound of beans in here or so. It's certainly not the whole package. So any way you look at it, it's very cheap. Very inexpensive. And you can feed quite a few people with this. Now I'm going to grab my water. I'm going to pour some water in here. And I'm going to pour just enough water on them until they're covered. Alright. Get my water going there. Now, I'm not going to add any more water than that right now because I don't want them to bubble over. But I'm going to bring it up to heat just till they come to a nice rolling boil. And then I'm going to back that heat, let them cook a few minutes. Back that heat off and then just turn them down to a simmer. And these things are going to cook for a few hours. I'll just keep an eye on them. If I need to add more water, I will. That's not a problem. Now, if you're going to do these in the crock pot, saute your vegetables first, add it all together, and then turn your crock pot. You know the drill. If you're going to be gone all day, you want to turn it on low. If you're going to be gone, you know, if you want it quicker, you can just turn it on high and cook it for however long, 4 or 5 hours. It depends. You know your crock pot better than I do, certainly. Okay, when these are done, I'll be back and I'll show you what they look like. And I will be tasting them for tenderness and I will be tasting them for salt and seasoning. Okay? All right. See you later. I just want to show you real quick what I'm talking about by a good rolling boil. That's what I'm talking about. It's not enough to boil over. I've got my lid just slanted on there to help the cooking process, and I'm going to let this cook now like this for 10 or 15 minutes or so, and then I'm going to back the heat way down on low and just let them simmer for probably a couple of hours or so before I decide to taste them. Hello, I want you to see that the beans are done. Now, these have cooked for a couple of hours, and I just want you to look at how nice they look. Don't they look good? And I'm going to show you how I test for doneness on these beans. I simply put some in a dish, and then I press them with a spoon. See if they smash easily, which these do. And then, of course, I taste them for doneness. I did taste them previously for doneness after about an hour or so in, and I tasted for salt. I did add more salt. So, now, I failed to mention, if you want to, you can cook these in a pressure cooker. You don't have to, or you can use the pan on top of the stove, or you can use your slow cooker. Now then, just to give you some ideas, this is a nice soup base, and you can use this, store this away in your freezer. After it's cooled down, you can divide it up if you want to. You can put it in a large container in your refrigerator. You can eat it for a meal the same day. It can be used as a chili base, refried beans. You can use it as a base for baked beans. You can use it for bean enchiladas, bean soup, and you can add whatever leftover meat you happen to have. You can use that in there too if you want to. You can add pasta. You can add cheese. You can add chicken, sausage, ground beef or other beef, and you can add a can of black beans and white beans. You can put bell peppers, tomatoes, and extend the soup even more. So that's just a few things that you can do with this wonderful pinto bean soup or pinto bean base. They're cooked, they're ready to go. It took a couple of hours of your time, and you are on your way to preparing a meal. Also, I like this, just taking a nice big scoop of this with that delicious broth and putting it over some hot rice in your bowl. It's delicious. Okay, I hope you give this a try. And if you like what you see, give me a thumbs up. And please subscribe. I would appreciate it very much. So, and don't forget to share. You can share, and I do look forward to your comments. All right then, I will talk to you later, and you just remember that little is much when God is in it. Okay, love ya. Bye. Thank you for watching Simple Food, Simple Life. Please like, subscribe, and share, and click the bell so you don't miss out